That's how amazing we are, and we're going back to that state, and it's coming down.
Now, a lot of the suicidal nihilists, and I have this in Endgame, the quotes, top futurist, computer developers, very wealthy people, they say that if we can't control the earth, we're going to destroy it because we have to be in control. We have to go unwilling. And we see Lenin in his poetry about how he wanted to destroy the earth and sun. They are going to attempt to destroy things. As 2016, in your view, your vision, approaches, how are they going to try to freeze us? Well, we're about to go to break. We're going to come back and look at that.
Okay.
Because will they be allowed to destroy the earth? Because they say they're going to kill everybody. They'll just blow the planet into 1,000 pieces if we attempt to take control of it from them by simply no longer being under their control. And then I want to get into all this news about world government and what's happening with all these Satanists openly announcing the different things they're doing. We're going to talk about it. All right, we've got David Icke into the next hour with us. And I've got a lot of world government news we're going to be covering. David, I went over an article written for Infowars.com called The Real Sicko Movie. And it talks about Roman Polanski raping that little 13-year-old girl and how Nicolas Sarkozy and all these stars are saying it's not a big deal. But then they're the ones pushing CPS laws where if you yell at your child when they run out in the street, they take your children away. So they're always saying, oh, we love you so much, we want to take all your rights, but then we're going to rape children. The head of France's arts number 3 position in the cabinet is the relative of Francois Mitterrand. He's Frederick Mitterrand. And he wrote a book, and he's the current culture minister, talking about how he goes to slave camps and rapes little boys. In France, as you know, they're always finding dead people. And at a Rothschild castle back in 1999, a woman escaped who was 85 pounds, 87 pounds, and the police did nothing. You've studied the ritual Satanism. It's very real. And you don't even come from this every time I talk about the occultists, they email me and say, oh, how dare you, Christian? We're the old-time religion. We predate you. We're not sacrificing anybody. But we know that's what they really do. They're always being caught doing it. And now you have out in the open the head of France's arts saying, yes, I rape children, and I'm allowed to. And it's wonderful, and I love raping them. So this isn't just about why they do this. It's also they're throwing it in our face by doing it out in the open, and the CIA admitting they torture people, and Obama saying he's going to continue it, including the rape of children at Abu Ghraib with large objects dripping with battery acid. That's the Army's own report. And it goes on and on from there. They are trying to superimpose that on us and create a climate where that is normal. Why are they doing this?
Well, it's part of the programming to bring the horrors that they have done in secret up to this point, to bring it more and more into acceptability. And they'll be bringing this more and more to the fore, because what you've just described, they want to bring this into the mainstream eventually. But talking about Roman Polanski, because I have done an enormous amount of research into this whole area that you just talked about. Roman Polanski is a practicing Satanist. He's been a practicing Satanist all the way through his career. And all that stuff what happened with Charles Manson and his wife and the family and all that stuff was all connected into it. And whenever I follow these people, whether it's the Rothschilds, whether it's people like the Bush family, particularly Father George Bush, by the way, and I follow them through, they always lead to the same place, which is ritual sacrifice, Satanism, and child abuse, sexual abuse. And one of the things that they're doing, which they are feeding off the child's energy, and what they want is the child before puberty, because when people go through puberty, as we know, there are chemical changes that take place. They want the energy of the child before that chemical change happens, and so they rape children, and in doing so, they're literally sucking their energy out of them, their life force. That's the word. And
by the way, let me stop you. I
know so much more about this now after the last few weeks. They are possessed by entities that operate just outside of visible light. These are the demons and under other names that people have talked about and religions and ancient texts have talked about. And these demonic entities, they feed off human energy. They feed off the child's energy because they're possessing the rapist, if you like, of the child.
David, I don't want to interrupt you, but we've got to for the break. That's what Frederick Mitterrand says in here. He calls it a ritual. So we have this nephew of the late French president, Francois Mitterrand. Francois Mitterrand openly said he was a Luciferian practitioner. He designed or commissioned the 666 gold pieces of the pyramid at the Louvre. Let's punch up the Louvre Pyramid for folks. Just Google Louvre Pyramid. And then he's got his family member, the head of the French art department, number 3 in the parliament, in the cabinet, appointed by Nicolas Sarkozy. They're all defending Roman Polanski raping this 13-year-old girl. And he says, hey, I love doing the rituals with young boys. And he goes, I love raping them. And it goes on here. David Icke, you got cut off by the break. Continue.
Well, I was going to say that, if you look back through what we call history, you'll see this common theme of sacrificing young virgins to the gods all over the world. Well, the gods is code, if you like, for these demonic entities, and young virgins is code for children. They were children that they were sacrificing. And what they do in these satanic rituals is they create the terror of the victim. They build up the terror. It's all systematic. So it reaches a point of absolute terror in the victim as it gets closer to the sacrifice. And these demonic entities, just outside of visible light, but within the frequency range of the emotion of terror that's being as an energy which is being generated, they're feeding off that. And then at the point of sacrifice, that terror manifests itself in an adrenaline that enters the bloodstream, a very powerful adrenaline. And the human Satanists, if you like, the people we're talking about, when the child or the adult too is sacrificed, they drink the blood immediately, which has this adrenaline, which gives them some kind of high. I mean, these are the people, Alex, that are running governments all over the world. That's why they're defending this Satanist child abuser, Polanski. They're running the intelligence agencies. They're running the military. They're running the corporations because that movie by Stanley Kubrick, Eyes Wide Shut, his last movie, and he died very, very soon after the executives of the movie corporation watched it at the first viewing. He died very soon after that.
It's more than that. I remember at the time talking to people involved, and it came out in the news. They made him cut 25 minutes. He refused to cut it. Then he suddenly died.
Yeah.
And then they cut it.
I was going to say that. And we've never seen that film that was cut, and yet even when you look at it, Alex, what was even left in, he was telling the truth about what goes on with the mansion and the rituals, except it was a very mild version of it. And these are the people that are running the world, and it's time they weren't, and the time is coming when they won't, because one thing I'm very, very, very aware of is that there is another force, call it consciousness, call it whatever you like. There's a force that is working to bring an end to this, and that's what is going to prevail. And we're seeing at the moment, we're seeing a cornered rat or cornered rats, and they're going to, like rats do when you corner them, they're going to be thrashing out in all directions. But that's what it is. It's the death throes. It's going to be very challenging for us, but it's the death throes of this stuff.
And then, I forgot to get you to answer that question. They're threatening to destroy the planet if we try to take control back away from them, or just end the control. And other final questions for our guest, David Icke, on the other side. And I want to be clear with people. even if you don't believe in Satanism and this Luciferian bloodletting, that's what all the elites are into. In their own words, not mine. There's an old adage. The devil's greatest trick was convincing the world he didn't exist. And that's why psychopaths are able to pick up young women and children. That's why dictators are able to rise to power. That's how this Michael Hilton con artist could go take over the town in Hardin, Montana. Because people don't want to admit they're being conned or that other people are taking advantage of them. Final segment with David Icke. I want to make this point, though. Just from a anthropology view or from the angle of archaeology, I don't claim to be a historian, but I have made a wide study of history. It's so huge.